leg lock. So Jay's going to go down onto the bottom. I've got some wooden socks on today for the video. Okay, so I'm going to start off in this position. Okay, so I've got this foot on the opposite side of his leg, not underneath his bottom. Okay, and this heel here, which is kind of where we finished him when we took him down on Wednesday. Okay, so once I'm in this position, yeah, what I need to do is to need to break the posture of the foot. Because most people should do this, which is called putting your boot on. Okay, once they're in this position, it's really difficult. Even if you get a good grip underneath the Achilles tendon to create pressure or cause any pain for him to tap out. Alright, so what we're going to do is, as I go to fall off, first of all I need to get my hands connected, so I'm going to slide this hand on the inside. Okay, so I'm adopting this grip. As we've talked about briefly on Wednesday, there are some different grips and things. My preference is to come into this ridge and just hold here. Okay, and before I do anything else, I'm going to take my elbow back and scrunch my shoulders back. Because if he puts his boot on, no matter what I try and do, it's going to be real difficult to create the leg lock. Okay, so I'm going to elbow back and then scrunch. So his foot ends up doing that instead of this. Okay, so hopefully it's kind of obvious straight away that they're two very different positions with two different two very different positions, and this is where we then now start creating our foot lock position. And just nice and gently, okay, I'm just going to drive my hips forward and squeeze my knees together, drive my hips forward and just look back. Okay, so arm goes in, create a connection with the hands. Okay, elbow back, scrunch your armpit backwards, so you're scrunching the toes, look back, squeeze your knees and drive through. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing we're going to have a little play at, and then what we're going to do is we're going to continuously make it tighter and make it more awful. Alright, give it a go. 1, 2, steady, no one's panic, the knee's going to explode or anything like that. Excellent. Okay, so the hand needs to be quite high up. Okay, if my hand's around about my belly button area, it's too low, we're not really going to be able to break the posture of the foot. So if he puts the boot on, boom, yeah, it's going to be really difficult to break that posture of the boot. So hand being a little bit higher, more towards the Achilles tendon. Okay, so this bit here is going towards the Achilles tendon. Once the hand goes in as well, I want to keep my hand up. Yeah, because that was my knee, not Jason. Okay, so here, yeah, I want to keep this in this position because this is what's going to really help get it super tight. Okay, this foot's really important. If this foot's just on the floor, Jay's just going to bob his hip across it, and then now we're in a position where I don't have the same amount of control. So we've always got to have that heel onto the hip. Okay, so last couple of times, in. And now start looking down towards the mat, okay? Because if Jason, and we're not going to practice this yet, because there's a few things we need to drill and just get used to this position, just so we don't end up twisting the wrong way and doing the wrong thing as a person getting foot locked. But as he starts stepping, this is where I can now go to a downward facing one, which is where I can generate even more power. It's not great for your forehead or your hairline, but when we get into that position, we can really drive our hips down and through into the leg lock, so it creates even more power.
So that was you that controlled that position and not Jay?
Jay initiated the position.
And then you just...
Yeah, I just keep hold, keep everything nice and tight, keep those knees squeezed, keep my heel on the hip. Yeah, the other foot is just kind of hugging, and then as he moves, I just move with his leg. Okay, so that's a really good question. Yeah, so this, once we're in nice and tight, doesn't matter which way he goes, yeah, he's going to have problems. One of the other things I want us to talk about briefly is the knee line. And this is where it'll help us kind of understand where we need to be. So I want to always control his knee, okay? So when we fall, which is the next bit, we're going to add the fall into here and then into the entry, okay? I always want to control the knee line, because if Jason's knee goes past my knees, yeah, I'm not going to be able to foot lock him. Even if I've got hold of his leg and doing this sort of thing, yeah, I'm going to start losing the position. So I need to make sure I have control of that knee and it's in between mine Yeah, significantly past would help definitely a lot, but he can't have his knee below my knees because then I've got problems and I don't really have true control. Okay, so just keep that in mind for when we start moving into adding this into the sweep. All right, give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Stacks my hips, comes in a little bit closer. So I'm going to chop away whichever leg's closest to me. That's the side of the hip that I'm going to touch with my foot. Opposite foot's going to go in towards the back of the knee pit. Yeah, it is knee pit. Okay, I'm going to pull, push, and pull. Okay, to break the posture. So as soon as he goes down, I've got a bit of work to do, haven't I? Because I haven't landed in a footlock position. I could always try and pull and start going over to the other side, but I always find that a little hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to pummel. So I'm going to pummel this leg in, I'm going to lift this leg up and slide. Okay, and this is where that knee line is really important. Okay, so I'm trying to establish that good position where that knee's in between my legs. All right. So it takes me into this position where I'm going to get punched in the face. This sucks. So I'm going to chop, 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 chop straight into here. Start trying to find the position where I've got control of the knee and into here. So sometimes I don't even get my arm underneath. I just want to control the leg so I can then find my position. Okay. Try and do this nice and smooth without power, without big movements. Just we want to make this kind of flow quite nicely. All right, give it a go. 1, 2, 3. In this middle position, we obviously have this ability to break posture and stuff. Now, when his hands go down, this is the natural thing to do, is to go in this position which is called grapevines. Okay, if you're in grapevines, do not explode. Okay, you are not helping yourself by exploding. So by going and all this kind of stuff, Jay's been super nice, but if he went into a full grapevine, if I start exploding, my knees and ankle and hips are all compromised. Okay, so explosion is not the name of the game from this position. Okay, so he's going to put the grapevines on. Yeah, the first thing I need to do, apart from kind of keeping frames and keeping his posture broken and even bringing my head into here to escape, is to clear a hook. Okay, because as he's got 2 hooks, I've got some real problems. So he stretches his legs out as far as he can. Yeah, Jay's significantly taller than me, maybe even further, tries to stretch it out. Yeah, all I need to do is try and straighten my leg out. You see how that hook's clear? Okay. If we're in this position, it doesn't work as well, so I'll straighten my leg out until the hook clears. Okay, it looks like goofy kung fu shit that you think, oh, this is magical, but it really isn't. I just need to clear a hook. Other ways of doing this as well is bring your legs on the inside, turn your knee and clear the hook, and then fight for your foot on the inside position. Yeah, because once I've got both, now I can explode and start looking at getting space, clearing hips, doing all that kind of stuff. Okay? So, grapevines, and he's got significantly longer legs than me, so straighten the leg, foot on the inside. Okay? Just have a little go at that first of all, and then we can go through our escapes. Grapevines, does all this kind of stuff. You see how low Jay is? Okay? Jay goes into mid-mount position. They're very different positions, aren't they? So like from here, it's a lot easier to get my bridge and affect his hips. But even though I've cleared the hooks, he goes back into the grapevine, he's much lower. His hips attached a lot closer to my hip, okay? So when we get into here, and we've done this sort of thing, to be able to bridge and book, it's possible, and it's good, but to bridge them this way, it's going to be a lot harder because they're a lot lower, okay? So for me, when I escape the grapevine, as well as keeping nice and tight, because I don't want to get hit in the face, as soon as I extend, I'm looking to try and get that foot in between my legs into our quarter guard position. So remember the seesaw that we did to push the knee down into my half guard, is then eventually get out, okay? So just keep that in mind, but clearing the hooks is definitely going to help you. Any questions? No. The shrimping, is just obviously frame position, because that's just our good defensive position. Yeah, hip out and knee through. I think we're all okay with how we practice that week in, week out. Maybe the one that we're missing is the underhook. Okay, so the backdoor escape. So loading my hips, turning my hips slightly, so that when I bridge, I now bridge Jason away from me. So remember, if I bridge straight up, he just comes straight down. If I bridge to the side, he has to post or base or something, which then gives me the opportunity to put my hand in the pocket, and then that nice high underhook, okay, making sure that we're pointing up to the ceiling. From here, this is where we bring back the old man kick up, back up into this position, okay. So, let's just drill this a couple of times. Frame, try and shrink, but it's not working, okay. So I'm going to load my hips into my bridge, tilt my pelvis slightly so I'm driving into Jason. As soon as I've got that gap, I freeze frame for a second, okay, arm goes round, old man kick up, to then start getting into what we call dog fight position on 2 knees, okay. Give it a go. 1, 2, 3. It's called the Phil Mitchell, okay. So there's 2 different ways of doing the Phil Mitchell, but it's all about this inside arm going underneath. Now there are risks here, yeah, there are significant risks here, so we have to be really careful. So with one arm, my inside arm going underneath, my head arm on top, okay, I'm going to still do a bridge, and I'm probably going to bridge up a little bit, because what's key is to get underneath the body. So I'm going to bridge up, and then I'm going to use this arm to push, but I'm also going to run my feet to go out, okay, so that's one way. And then from here, this is where you long arm guys can start hitting darces, and the other one is if this gets trapped underneath. So he starts trapping the arm goes under, okay, so I've got both arms under here, and it's more about me moving underneath Jay for this next one than me moving Jay. So some of us might be really big, strong and be able to throw the person off, but if you get me and Jay on you, then I'm probably not going to get away with that, okay, so we're going to have to do what's called the Phil Mitchell. So Phil Mitchell's always under cars. Obviously it's like, oh, you won, you slave. Yeah. So we might practice this next week. So I've gone for my underhook and Jay's killed it. Okay, so I can no longer start getting onto my hips, start creating posture and stuff. So I'm gonna have to turn into Phil Mitchell. It's a little bit of a bridge, but you see how my heels go away a little bit, and it's my heels and my arms that pull me down in this position. Okay. So, in fact, let's have a go.